My name is Trent Weaver, and I'm the acting director of Land to Land.
My name is Miriam Lopez, and I go by Milo, and I am the founder of Land to Land.
Land to Land is an organization that Milo had introduced to me little over a year ago. She had called up while I was working in nursing homes. I ran hospitals, and she had some friends that were involved in, the conflict during the Russia and Ukraine war. And she said, we need to get them out. And then Milo, Miriam Lopez here, she went ahead and jump-started this organization to help all those people that would be inflicted or conflicted with the war.
I think with the point of knowing that there is friends, we were in an urgency to know how we could put this in legal matters so we could represent them well. And the name Land to Land came to be because of the migration of people. And it mimics natural elements that happen on Earth. So Land to Land was founded by me, but it was embraced by the community to help those in refuge to be safe. What captivated me to start Land to Land was a simple term that was presented a long time ago in architecture school. And they asked us, why were we architects? Why do we want to become designers? And there's an architect from Vegas that he said that he did it for the love of humanity. And since then, that was really engraved into my heart. And so when they presented the idea of having friends being in danger, the stem of Land to Land was to embrace that action, that I did anything for the love of humanity.
We're told to bear one another's burdens. And the reason why I jumped on into this organization or helped start this organization is because these people needed help and they are burdened beyond belief. And I just wanted to say, your burden is my burden. And I think that's what Land to Land stands for. We met almost 20 years ago while we were studying at UNLV. Yeah. And we remained friends for a very, very long time. We've had communication for the last 20 years. Even while I was doing tours of duty in the Army, we kept in communication. And then she decided to go teach English in Russia. And then after I got back from Iraq the first time, she said, hey, why don't you come visit us in Russia? And that's how I developed a love for not only the Russian people, but I met a lot of Ukrainian people there too. And when she asked us to help in that situation, I just remember the time when we met so many good people in Russia.
Throughout my growing up in college, when we met him and his brother, I always looked up to them for their compass and their moral standards. And so when I was always in any halt or in a plot twist in my life during travels, I always depended on them to know what was going on. And so when this opportunity came on, I knew that my best friends will jump in with me, not say that I was crazy or that why you're doing this, or this is not your war, focus on your own things that people didn't really knew, like what was going on and what made me Milo, what made Mylofleur. So it's funny because throughout these years of 20 years of friendship, I knew in a heartbeat, because his brother and I will talk about this, and I knew in a heartbeat that they would jump in without question because they knew who I am. They knew my integrity and my dignity, and they knew what I wanted to do with this entire life. So I presented the idea to Travis, his twin brother, and he said he was jumping in, and he did. He started helping us, but the actual physical aspect of this was Trent was available, and Trent, literally, you quit your job to become my CEO of Mylofleur and become the director of Land to Land.
I had been a nursing home and skilled nursing facility administrator I was a director of many convalescent hospitals and skilled nursing facilities for over the last 10 years. And then when I received my call, or the call from Miriam, I decided to leave that industry and come in and help, with this organization. And she invited me in to help out with her company as well. I've always wanted to help people. I was in the United States Army for a while. I was a civil affairs specialist, and part of that job was to help displaced civilians and those that have, just need a little bit help on the battlefield. And I learned a little bit about that. And when I got back to the civilian world, I didn't have a chance to really use those skills that I learned there. Although what I was doing was, I think, beneficial. But when this came up, I thought that I was uniquely qualified to help, not only establish the organization, but to go out there and help those that have been inflicted with war and displaced by, other conflicts, across the globe. Well, part of the job as a civil affairs specialist in the Army was to identify those areas on the battlefield and individuals and families and persons that needed help. So we would look at different villages and so forth and see, okay, what does this village need? Does it need running water? Does it need schools? Does it need educators to come in? Does it need extra safety? Could we train police officers? That's what we would do. And I think when these people are leaving a place where they grew up and were used to, and a place what they called home, and leaving and coming to a new country, they could feel lost really quickly, right? So just identifying some of the resources that they could use in these countries, and while coming to areas closer to our own, and coming into the United States, I think just giving that extra comfort, knowing that there's a person there to help them throughout the whole process. So that's what I mean by uniquely qualified.
What I was doing was that I had just finished my landscape architecture degree at UNLV, and I decided to travel abroad to do internships. And through the internships, I also had to teach English. English is my second language, so I don't know. So I understood the kids. And through that, to do those internships, I also got into university teaching design in English. Nothing I studied. I didn't study to be a teacher, but I love design. With that said, I was able to serve a mission for the LDS Church, and then I was called to serve in Yekaterinburg, Russia, not knowing Russian, sorry. So I was called to serve in the Yekaterinburg mission, Russia, without knowing Russian. That is where I developed the strength of, when you don't know what to do, you just go for it and learn something. And I was older. Then after coming back, I decided to finish my master's degree in architecture. After graduating with master's in architecture, I was working in floral design and music. And after graduating, I married Mother Nature with structural elements, and I made it to biofilixture. So anything that has to do with nature and hospitalities or open spaces. After a year later, I opened Land to Land. Until this day, I still activate both Land to Land and also Mylofleur. Mylofleur the name stems off from my nickname, and the fleur just came out with someone being cute and adding it to it. But Mylofleur really is an interactive module for floral other than florist. So it's a medium for me to be able to create art through floral. Mylofleur expanded a bit more after graduating, and I did it in a different scale and volumes, going from a personal floral design to wedding design to event design, all the way now to activating Mother Nature in structural elements inside hotels. And the scale to that, it's grand and voluminous, and it provides a vision of how to keep Mother Nature inside or outside homes, especially in a climate like that we have in Las Vegas. We have an example of someone that was seeking help through Land to Land and slowly transitioned to Mylofleur as we were helping her. There is this case that we were presented to in Mexico City while we were traveling for other families. And when that happened, we saw her gifts and talents. And I asked her personally, because I was the one interviewing her, I asked her what was that she desired the most. What do you desire the most? She took a while and she said, I want freedom. Out of all the refugees I had interviewed, that struck me hard, because there's this woman going country to country looking for freedom. And when she said that, my heart just opened. I said, if that is what you desire, I believe I have the way. And I was not ready for this yet, because I was still sort of new with transitioning from floral design to biophylixture. And I learned her gifts and talents, and she has a strength. She had strengths that I didn't have yet. And so I spoke to Trent, and we transitioned. This girl, Masha, now is working as our assistant and programming logistics. Through all that, she has ups and downs, learning, throwing, like I call it, throwing her in the swimming pool and say, okay, here it is. This is what your freedom looks like. And she laughs and she's like, this is so stressful. But then I was like, but you can do it. If you were that woman that you were struggling to get into the country that offers freedom, you can do it. Now that she's here, she is a strong asset. She's learning a lot. And not only that, I'm seeing her have humanitarian work and some love towards those that also go through the program.
Okay, the reason why I decided to join Milo in Land to Land, or starting Land to Land, is because I've always had a love for people. And I always wanted to help people that were in need. And when the war in Russia started, there was a lot of people that needed help. And when her friends needed that assistance and she called, I couldn't say no.
I do want to piggyback on that, and just remembered this guy, we almost lost our train in Russia because he saw a woman with a stroller, and I turned around to scan his passport, and I was like, we gotta go, and there he goes. Helps this woman with her baby in a carriage, and then just like pulls it up, runs, and then just flees into herself. And I was like, we almost lost our train. And when he said, okay, I want to help you, it was just like, yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy who will drop everything for everyone. No question.
Well, there's various ways we fund Land to Land. One is that part of the revenue is from Mylofleur is actually donated to Land to Land. And then we have some pretty gracious donors. We have developed some good relationships with some individuals that have, when we needed help with some pretty serious cases, we can call them, and they are willing to donate. Donate to help with transportation, lodging, and the legal assistance that we're talking about. So one, it's through Mylofleur, and the other is just from pretty gracious donors that have helped us out along the way.
And to be exact, Mylofleur actually does donations, and it covers the administration part of Land to Land and our travels as a team. As when people donate to us, it actually goes through the cases, and they have choices of who they want to support. The hardest thing for me to ever do is to trust my dream to those that don't know anything, what I accumulated 20 years to do. But then the thought came after pondering, like, why I've worked so hard for this? Why do I have to stretch myself now? After great meditation and thoughts, the answer came as, this is not about you. It was a bigger plan after this. With that, I released it. And I kept Milo being in Milo. And to be symbolically correct, there's no flowers without a land. So land is a very important aspect now. And just to add a little bit, 25% on that, is that Mylofleur boomed after I opened my humanitarian work. Okay, the primary goal to land, to follow from what I have discussed already, it is that we want to make sure that we prevent more people to fall into human trafficking.
You know, I don't know if you guys are very familiar with this, but the route that these people have to take, because eventually they have to go through Mexico, right? That is like the main hub to get into the United States. So when people from Russia, Ukraine, or from all over the world, for these conflicts over the world, they end up going through South America, through Mexico, and then they come to the border town. And that can be very dangerous. The passageway through there is very dangerous. It's riddled with the cartels and other entities that take advantage of these refugees. So our main goal, one of the main goals, is to bring these families or individuals from point A to point B safely. If they're coming from Eastern Europe, like, okay, let's get them from Eastern Europe to a safe location in Mexico where we can help them there or in other countries. And then we can safely transport them to the border to claim asylum, right? That is part of our main goal, to make sure that they are not harmed throughout that whole process. And we do all this legally. There is nothing that we do that's illegal.
We enter the countries with their laws, and we help them to keep the laws of the land.
I think one of the priorities that we have is to bring awareness of the situation. I think most people in the United States know that we have issues at our borders, and they are aware of human trafficking, but they are not mostly aware of the situations where people have to leave and the process and the journey that they have to take to get to a situation where their family's safe. Number one priority is to make sure that they're safe during that process. Number two priority is to make sure that they have that safe location to be. And number three priority is that they have the best possible legal assistance with the legal teams that we have, or that we can, help them find, to get them into our country or into another country where they can finally find that peace that they're looking for. One of the ways you can help is to donate. It does cost some money to help these individuals. Travel fees is probably the most expensive. To get them from one location to another, from various parts of the world, it can get pretty expensive. So donations, I think, that can help. And you can find it on our website. You can donate on our website through PayPal and through Venmo. Is some of the primary ways you can donate. Other ways, we do hold workshops.
Our workshops are to bring pleasure to blossoming to people's lives and be able to collect funds through that. We have wholesalers that actually participate with us. There's other community members that are in the hospitality that help us with that. So signing up to a workshop as you learn to elevate your lifestyle, we're able to collect funds. And the most important, I think, is also learning who we are and being aware of who we are to share it with others. And volunteering, we actually collaborate with other nonprofits. And so we always look for volunteers to assist us in creating Floral so we can help them and then they help us back. It's a strong community here in Las Vegas, but we're looking to expand to other states as well.
Being a part of this organization, I have met some of the best people. It's really connected us with some some of the individuals that we wouldn't ordinarily been connected with. People that have already done a lot of humanitarian work, people that we've been introduced to because they are wanting us to assist individuals in various parts of the world, Middle East, Eastern Europe, Asia. So the connection and the family that we're building through Land to Land and is something that I think we can be proud of.
Yeah.
And humbly and be humble about how many people just want to be a part of humanitarian work.
I just have to say that you guys are the beginning stage of seeing Mother Nature, seeing the power that Mother Nature brings to those that are seeking refuge. And never did I think in my life that I would think that a flower can protect one family, or a design could protect a case. Never did I think that the power of what gives could produce that. So as we stand here as like creators and we all thought about us, I think that we have the power to battle those with art. Battle the things that are negative in this earth with art. And now that we stand here and collaborate like this is so powerful to me, to see that what we believed in ourselves is also blooming and elevating those that don't have the same opportunity as us. That is my happy thought.